you're moving and you're talking with your person you're running with. They might not know much about your day other than what your run club is. They don't know your family, they don't know your life, but you feel comfortable sharing it with them because you're on an equal playing field when you're out there running.
Welcome to Safe Space Running, where our mission is to encourage, empower, and enable. I am glad and honored to have our next guest who's doing big moves here in Columbus, especially with our youth and our boys here. We have Shruti here of part of Let Me Run. Shruti, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. It's the holiday season. I still have to get some shopping done. I have none of that. So how about you? Have you started any of that?
Neither have I. I have a lot of things to get done on my list, but you know what? It's all right. We got time to get it all done. And whenever you get out there, you give to the people you love and people you care for, and they understand the
Hmm.
situation. It's busy and got things going on.
Yeah, I hate driving through the traffic of the Christmas and holiday season because where I'm at over here, anytime you're by Morse Road, it's a nightmare. When I used to stay out on 256 out in Reynoldsburg, it's a double nightmare. So I'm not looking forward to it, but as you said, we'll have to make things work for
I,
sure.
I'm going to try to check off some lists on my list, but my kids are at the point where they start to send me lists of things, even by like out there now, that kind of tell you things they want. And so it gets kind of tricky, get them a couple things, that's all they need. It's necessities and things like that.
Yeah, yeah, but we're gonna make it through the season as before. So I wanted to, before we go into the organization of Let Me Run, I kind of wanted to learn more a little bit about you and your journey. Can you explain, how you started getting into the running and walking space and your experiences as part of that?
Definitely. So I've always been passionate about just being healthy and being active. My journey of running started later in life, to be honest with you. I probably didn't run my first 5K until my college years. Prior to
Mm,
that, in high school, I played tennis and other things like that. But I ran my first 5K, which was the Susan B. Komen 5K in Columbus when I was a student at Ohio State. And I found that it was just the joy of learning a new skill and being around the excitement and energy of running. Running kind of stayed with me. My husband was always a runner. He ran track, and cross country. He did those active things in high school, I should say. But for me, it came later in life. But I was diagnosed with diabetes when I was about 27,
mm,
20. Just type 2, just having my first pregnancy, had that journey. And to me, fitness took on a different component. Healthy eating was a big component of it, but always finding movement. So whether it be strength training, running in general was important to me. And I believe it's a stress outlet. When you start having a family, I have 3 children of my own, and I think finding that space. So from the beginning, when my children were young, I always went to the gym. I dropped them in the childcare at the gym. I needed that space for myself, and that incorporated the running on the treadmill, running on the outdoor track at the gym. It was like my sanity, and I think that that was a piece of the mental health. My journey into Let Me Run led me that my son, he's my middle child. I wanted to get him involved in something, and he had attention deficit. He had some anxiety, certain things that kind of always was a little piece of a challenge, although he was young. And I found out about this program, and I thought, great, this is a great way to kind of use his energy, propel his energy in a positive way. He was a second grader at the time. And at that time, I chose to volunteer coach at a school in the area.
okay.
And that's kind of where I learned about the program and became active at that point to start.
Oh, I love that you incorporate movement. There's a lot of people that I know who start their running and walking journey later, but I love that you've incorporated as part of your lifestyle. I think that's something that a lot of us sometimes takes for granted, and especially those who are getting into the space. Running and fitness overall, as you've done, as you said, is becomes part of your lifestyle. You incorporate it with raising family. You've incorporated with your own personal journeys and your own mental health and things of that nature. And I'm glad you talked about Let Me Run as how you incorporate it for your son. Can you explain more to me what Let Me Run is and what kind of impact you've seen as part of that program? Because you're very involved with that. It's not a matter of you
Yeah,
just bringing your son there. You're
exactly.
one of the key
Well,
players here.
yeah, so it started with me being just a coach, like I originally mentioned. So I found out about this program, which is a nonprofit. It's a run and wellness program for boys. So it starts at elementary through middle school ages. It's in Central Ohio, where it is locally where we are involved with, but it is a national organization. They are in different schools and sites all over Columbus, run by volunteer coaches. So at that time, when I got involved, I thought great opportunity to be involved as a volunteer coach. My son actually wasn't of age to participate, but I actually
Mm,
just brought the program because I was a coach. So he actually was in the program for like I want to say 7 or 8 years,
wow.
um, seven or eight seasons, I should say. So it's about
Hmm.
4 years. So it's by season. We do a spring and a fall season. So he went from second grade all the way up until the pandemic. We did have some shutdown. Basically, it's a curriculum based program. It teaches boys wellness, emotional, social connection. We have a curriculum that guides the boys through bi weekly lessons. They have like a fall and a spring session. Just like I mentioned, it's 7 weeks. They have 14 lessons that the boys go over. We believe movement is important, but goal setting is important, and finding ways to open up boundaries and conversations and have those conversations that I think are important. And it's all based on their developmental level. So it's age appropriate lessons. So if you're at a third grade level where we start at versus an eighth grade level where we end at, the curriculum varies. Coaches are given like an online curriculum portal where they can
Okay.
access all the materials, all the supplies. We ship them for them. It guides them through everything that they're going to have to do as volunteer coaches during the season.
That's pretty robust, I have to say. And it's great that you guys are targeting elementary to middle school students. There's such a magic with that age group. Can you provide me some stories of, I'm sure you have plenty over the time you've done this, but what were some impactful stories that you had when working with these young boys?
Well, I guess I should first say that our mission of our program is to kind of build a new generation of boys through this curriculum based running program. So we use
Hmm.
running vehicle to kind of implement our wellness programming. So we've had a variety of boys. We started in Columbus in about 2014. So we're just over 10 years. We did close down for COVID for a few seasons, but we've been here a little over 10 seasons now. As a national organization, they started in about 2009. Um, but since then, we've had a variety of boys that have come through our seasons, some that have made more lasting impacts than others. I have been as a regional director here for about a little over 4 years.
Hmm.
I got into this role after COVID. Basically, I mean, we have kids like, for example, that have autism. They're on the spectrum. They're dealing with some other challenges, and we find ways for them to power their running and give them activity and connections with boys and friendships in a different way. We have boys that are in the Ohio School for the Deaf. It's a very different place to be when you go to see that school. Their communication base is totally different. They're trying to
Hmm.
connect with their dialogue in sign language and finding a way to be a part of the community. For them, that's a whole different. They feel a lot of social isolation, especially during COVID, and they're finding ways to reconnect with everybody. I have had some boys that I had a personal story recently in the last few years where I had a boy that had cancer.
Wow.
He a local school and he started having a cancer through his bones, and
Mm.
his parents were constantly, keeping us in the loop. The coach started with him in the program. He had to leave due to some hospitalizations, some issues he had to deal with, but he wanted to still be an honorary member of our team.
Oh.
Gave him the shirt, did all the things, and his coach in his wheelchair pushed him the whole 3.1 mile race at the end of our season.
Wow.
So we had the mask and trying to at least be a part of the run program. He wanted to still be a part of it. Now, we watched him come back season after he was recovering. We watched him go from a walker to different kind of forms of movement. And then I bumped into his dad most recently because they have a younger son in our program now. And he told me he ran the half marathon
Oh
this
my
past.
goodness. What?
Yeah, and it's been like several years. Now he's a middle schooler, but he started, and I was like, what? So it's really cool because what it showed me is that we showed him the passion and the energy that running brings and the community it is, the spirit of hope that it has. Um, Running is a very vulnerable sport, but it
Hmm.
also levels the playing field. Everybody comes in at the same place. You know what? It can be hard, and we just kind of find a way to reconnect through your mind or through nature. You find a way to be outdoors, getting off your equipment, your digital devices, and that's one thing that we truly value with these kids. Having conversations that they can have with us in a very safe place. We have different conversations about goal setting, healthy habits, friendships. It could even be bullying. It can be computer usage, social media. There's such a variety of topics. Every season, we rotate the conversations. We have a portal that every season you have a different set of 14 lessons. There are some reiterating ones that we try to stay with that are kind of values that we believe in. Every boy that's in our program follows what we call a credo. And those credos are things like we want a let me run to boy to show courageousness, honesty, respect, perseverance, teamwork, and unity. So throughout the season, those are elements that we are constantly focusing on during all of our lessons. And by the end of the season, the teams get a chance to vote on a boy on their team that they think fulfilled all those requirements. It does not mean that's the fastest boy. The boy who made a push harder, maybe motivated his teammates, was that great encourager, whatever that might be at that team. So it comes full circle to watch just the growth and the way the camaraderie of some of these kids. Some of them may not have known each other. Some of them are forced to do the program. Their parents are like, "We're signing you up for a run program," and sometimes some of them they start to be like, "Okay, I'm gonna be here because my mom wants me here," but then they're like, "Oh, that's not bad. I think I'm kind of good at this," or it might help me with my soccer, or helps me with my other sports that I'm involved with, and they start realizing they have goals, and so we do track them during the season. Although our focus isn't truly on always the running portion, we do want them to know that you can attain your goals. Okay, so we have times where we measure their 1 mile time. We do buddy run days. We do some interval days. And then we are building their stamina that at the end of the 7 week season, they do run a 5K. And that is the culmination of our season where they kind of see the pride, the joy, the accomplishments they've made. And, parents, families, people are cheering them on. And it's, a race environment. It's like no other. It's fantastic. We host our own spring 5K in May.
Okay.
Our 5K that we have in the fall is usually a partner race. So we part with another nonprofit. So that's kind of how we usually do that.
That's a lot of programs and opportunities that you guys bring to the table for
Yeah.
that, especially for them. I know when I was in school, I didn't know anything beyond a mile or an 800, and that was in high school. I didn't know anything else about, distance running, marathon running. That was all foreign until, as you, probably similar to you, after college, to where I'm seeing the advertisements and signing up on a win, which I wouldn't recommend. But there's a lot of different opportunities and such that you guys offer to kids, and I think that's very admirable and amazing. Now, from the parent perspective, how can one find more about Let Me Run? How can they
Yeah.
get involved? What schools are you guys
So,
are at?
it varies from season to season. We have a multitude of people that reach out to us. It could be school administrators, it could be teachers within a building, counselors within a building, parents that want to have their school. The biggest thing is that we have to work with the school based on if they can find coaches. Um, the coaches are volunteers. We're always loving volunteers to come volunteer in our programs. We train them. We provide them the materials. We do site visits with them. We have ongoing communication with them to make sure that they are understanding the program's purpose. We need 2 coaches for every team of at least 14 boys. So we try to keep the ratio small. That way, we're giving them that attention and able to monitor and attain some of our goals that we have. So at least 2. But you know what? Honestly, we say that if you can't commit to 2 days, like let's have a team that has 4 or 5 coaches. And if they can only come one day a week, at least we have 2 coaches a day. Like we need at least the coverage, and it's a possibility. So if you go to our website, it's letmerun.org. You'll see started team information. You could always send that to us. It sends us the information that you're interested in learning more about the program. Would you like us to bring it to your school? We talk to administrators and get school permissions. It doesn't always have to be at a school, though. We could be at a community center. We've had some sites at United Way. We've had some in the past at the Columbus Parks and Recs. You could even form a team at a local park or place. As long as we have permission, we make sure we have everything kind of filled out, all our background checks, everything kind of set and done. We can kind of start a program, wherever it kind of works for your area.
Awesome, awesome. And if people want to volunteer, would they be able to go to the same website and find that out as well?
Correct. There's going to be a multitude of links and everything in there about learning to be a coach, what's required, what background checks. We do require things like background checks and some CPR training, and then to attend ARB training, which it's only once every 2 years. So you kind of get all the information, all the areas that you need to cover. So starting a team is one great way to volunteer, to get involved. But volunteering doesn't, if you're not wanting to be a coach, you can be like a buddy coach that just comes and assists every once in a while. You could be someone that maybe is just a timer at the practices. Maybe you just are not a runner and it's not what you can do right now. You can volunteer at our race. We always are looking for volunteers. We've got water tables, we've got medals, we've got course marshals, all that jazz at our races. So there's always the ability to do that. We're always looking for fundraisers, different events around the community and outreach. So if you want to come and be a part of our council or help us out in other different areas, our goal is obviously to get more awareness out there so people know about this offering. Those that are unable to afford the program, I didn't mention it before, but there is obviously a cost to the program. There's a registration fee. It does include the 5K fee. So it's all in one encompass. It gives them a race shirt, gives them all the materials for the season. But if a school is in low income or in Title I, we do work with schools on finding funding with them. Sometimes schools have their own title funding within their schools from their administration. Other times, we are able to fund based on some of the grants that we write. I spend a lot of time working and trying to find grants that are going to work towards what our mission is, and that is the running and the mental health piece. So for us, it's like they're kind of both. We think that they are tied together. So I know times are tough, and sometimes people just can't afford a program, but they definitely want to be involved, and we don't want finances to be a barrier for them. So, we try our best to work with people as much as we can.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I always ask every person I interview, and since you work with youth, I'm kind of going to tailor it a little differently for you. One thing in the audience that we typically have is sometimes newer runners, people who don't know what to do or how to enter into the space. And so I'm going to ask you that, but in the scope of the youth that you've come in contact with, what would be one thing that you tell them to encourage them to continue into the space of running and walking?
You mean like when they join the program, and then like if they're not runners, you mean, or
Yeah,
walkers,
yeah,
or
just if you're, say you're at a school site and you have this one kid that's on the side who's nervous, they don't know what to do. There's like I want to, but I don't know how, or they're questioning themselves. What would be one
it
thing you would encourage them for?
find that all the time. And I remember as a coach, I saw it all the time. You're going to have those faster runners. You're going to have the slower runners.
Hmm.
And me personally, as a runner, I'm at the end of the pack, but I'm still moving. So to me, it's just keep moving, right? Making those small milestones. We always say, run to the next mailbox, then walk a little bit, run to the next
Mm.
rock, get to that point. Oftentimes for me, when I go on my site visits, I love to visit the boys in the different schools. So when I go out there to visit them, I try to talk. I try to talk and let them listen a little bit, but have them answer just little bits at a time. It keeps them not thinking about their body moving, and they just get focused in on what I'm asking them, how their day's going, what's going on at school, what's going on in your home. It's interesting to find that so many kids are willing to open up to, sometimes, I don't want to say that in a bad way, but as a stranger, I'm coming in to meet them maybe for the first time, and they just want someone to talk to. They feel comfortable just having conversations. And let's think about it, running, run clubs, all those people, that's what you do. You're moving and you're talking with your person you're running with. They might not know much about your day other than what your run club is. They don't know your family, they don't know your life, but you feel comfortable sharing it with them because you're on an equal playing field when you're out there running.
Hmm.
So, something that I think, just movement, just keep moving, whatever that might be. Get to this point, make another goal, get to that point.
I love that. And I think that that's something that can transcend age. We have, again, a lot of different people who feel the same way. They don't know, but keep moving and finding each mini milestone, each mini victory. You'd be surprised how far you travel. Well,
Oh,
Shruti, I thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you, and I want to give you thank you for what you do for the community and what you're doing for our youth here in the different Columbia or in the different schools that we have here, and giving that opportunity of movement. You could be doing a lot of other things, but you're taking that time to give people the knowledge and the wisdom of how to move and how to move healthily. So for myself, and I'm sure many other parents and even some of the kids that you work with, thank you for all that you do.
oh, thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity to get, to share. And if anybody has additional information, please don't hesitate to reach out to us on our email. My email's directly on our Columbus region page. And, we'd love to start running with you at your school or your site very soon.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you again. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it, Chris.